Hello, everybody, and welcome inside the Edward Jones chatting cage. I'm your host, Jackie Redmond, and I am so excited to be with you for this segment because this show is super cool. It is all about you, the fans at home. You guys are going to get to ask all of the questions to today's special guest, and let me tell you, it is a big guest today, fresh off of his first career no-hitter. That's right, a no-no last Tuesday. We're going to be talking to Seattle Mariners pitcher and Canadian James Paxton. Before we bring him in, though, there's two ways that you can ask a question. You can click the green button below to sign up or sign in for your chance to ask that question on video live. But if you don't want to be on camera, I understand, and we have your back. You can do this as well. You can head to Twitter and tweet us using the hashtag #ChattingCage to get your questions in. All right, let's not waste any more time. Without further ado, let's welcome in Mariners pitcher James Paxton. James, obviously, I have to start off by saying congratulations on the no-hitter. No question, a big, huge moment for you in your career. What have the last couple of days been like for you? I can only imagine.
It's been crazy, but like I've said to some other people, it's totally worth it. You know, it was a great experience, and sharing it with family and friends across Canada, being able to watch it on TV was special.
Yeah, you definitely did it in the right place, that's for sure. I mean, how many messages did you have on your phone when you finally got a chance to look at it? I've got to guess over 100.
Oh, yeah, there was probably about 150 at one point that I had to get back to, so I set aside some time to get back to everyone who had reached out.
All right, well, we got some questions for you from fans that are watching this segment live right now. So I'm going to get one from Mrs. Grant22 on Twitter. She wants to know, when did you start to realize you actually had the no-no going?
I think I noticed that there was no hits after about the fifth inning. You know, because early in the game, I was kind of walking some people, and I was just trying to find some rhythm out there. And then the fifth inning, I realized there was no hits, and then there's so much game left at that point that I just kind of went back to focusing on what I was trying to accomplish out there and get people out. And then once Seager made that diving play in the seventh, going back out for the eighth, I kind of knew, like, okay, we got to do this now. Like, this is getting pretty close. And I still had a lot of pitches left, so just went out and gave it everything I had.
I imagine you must have treated Seager to a beverage or two, maybe, following that game. That was a spectacular play.
It sure was. There was a lot of them in that game.
Certainly. All right. We have a fan that's going to join us live. Now, what's your name and what's your question?
Hi, James. My name's Dan. My question is, what have you learned from pitching alongside King Felix?
You know, you learn a lot from Felix, just watching him pitch. He's just such a great competitor. And, you know, I think he's the best I've ever seen at getting out of kind of jams and making big pitches when he needs to. And just watching him and learning how to stay composed in big moments, I think is probably the biggest thing I've learned from him.
My goodness, what did he say to you after the no-hitter?
Oh, he was just hugging me, congratulating me, saying that, you know, so awesome. And I actually went up to him and asked, like, okay, so what do I do? Like, what do I get authenticated? And he was like, oh, just, you know, do your cleats, your glove, and a few other things. Just you're gonna want some stuff for yourself, he said.
Oh, that's good advice, actually, because I'm sure there would be lots of requests for lots of things from that game once it happened. That's a good question that you asked him. All right, our next question comes from Twitter. It comes from Caleb. This is a funny question. How nervous, scared, or calm were you when the bald eagle landed on your shoulder earlier this season?
It was funny. When I first saw it coming for me, there was a little bit of panic that set in when I saw it kind of flying towards me.
Yeah, no doubt.
And then, yeah. And then it kind of gave me that flyby, and it landed on the ground in front of me. And we kind of locked eyes for a second, and I was like, oh, boy, here we go. And all of a sudden, there was these feathers coming at me, and I just kind of dodged it because I didn't want to get hit in the face by this bird. And then as soon as it landed on me, I could tell that it wasn't attacking. It was just trying to, you know, perch. And then all the fear kind of went away, and I just thought I'd try to stand up slowly and get it to, like, perch on me, but it ended up falling off my back, so... Yeah.
Did you watch the video of that afterwards?
Oh, yeah, plenty of times. It was pretty wild.
I can only imagine that's probably one the boys in the clubhouse had playing on repeat for quite some time. Okay, we have another fan joining us via video. What's your name and what's your question?
Hi, I'm Emily. Growing up, who was your favorite baseball player?
Randy Johnson and Andy Pettit. Those are my two favorite guys to watch pitch growing up.
What was your favorite things about those two players? Did you learn anything from them by watching them?
Well, I think I loved watching Randy pitch just because how dominant he was. The hard fastball and slider, and he was just always so intense on the mound. And then, Andy Pettit is just seems like a true professional. He went out there and pitched and was smart, and his game management, as well as just being able to pick guys off and keep runners close. He just did a lot of things the right way.
He certainly did. You're watching the Edward Jones Chatting Cage. We are joined by Mariners pitcher James Paxton. James, our next question comes from Twitter. Nikki would like to know, when did your nickname, the Big Maple, where and when did it originate?
I think this was last year. At one point, our coaches thought that I needed a nickname, and I believe it was actually Tim Bogar who coined the term Big Maple. And then Service said it in a interview, and it stuck. And everyone started calling me Big Maple. The media kind of ran with it, and I've been Big Maple ever since.
Do you like it? Do you like that nickname?
Yeah, it works. I mean, they got the Maple Grove out there in Seattle. Those people have a lot of fun with it. The fans like it, so that works for me.
This is the Edward Jones Chatting Cage. We're talking to Mariners starting pitcher James Paxton. James, our next question comes from another fan video. This is Aaron. Aaron, what's your question?
What was it like to throw the no-hitter in Canada where you were born?
Oh, throwing it in Canada was special. I think having the Canadian, I kind of heard the Canadian fans kind of switch over early on in the 7th inning. I could hear some boos and saying like, "Oh, you're going to give up the no-hitter," blah blah blah. And after about the 8th inning, I think after Seager made that diving play in the 7th, the fans kind of turned and were rooting for me to do it, and that was really cool. I had a friend in the stands, and he said he could tell the moment that the fans switched over. And the 9th inning, when we were going for it there, they were all on their feet cheering, and it was really special. And afterwards, some stood up over the dugout and were cheering for me, and I pointed my tattoo, and just kind of sharing that moment with the Canadians was very special for me.
Man, I got to tell you, you played that moment perfectly. It was so awesome to watch on TV. Canadian fans cheering on a Canadian on the mound in Toronto, and you actually made a point in your post-game interview to thank those fans. Why was it important for you to thank the Canadian fans for that moment?
I think that they, felt for me being a Canadian kid, and just to see a Canadian do something that's, only been done twice by Canadians is special, and to do it in front of them made it that much better. And I just really appreciated their support, and wanted to make sure they're recognized for that.
They say timing is everything, and yours was pretty good for that no-hitter. All right, time for the EDJ question of the day. Your no-hitter was just the 6th in Mariners history. What does that honor mean to you?
It's amazing. I'm really honored and grateful to have had that no-hitter, and it wouldn't have happened without the guys in the field behind me, and Mike catching me. They made some amazing plays. Mike was putting down the right fingers, and it was really a team effort, and it belongs to those guys as much as it does to me.
We are inside the Edward Jones Chatting Cage talking to Seattle Mariners pitcher James Paxton. Our next question comes from Nick. Nick, what's your question? Or Matt, excuse me. Matt, what is your question?
Hi, my question for James is, who is the biggest comedian in the Mariners clubhouse?
Biggest comedian. We have a few. There's some guys that like to joke around. Felix is always making guys laugh. He's got a good sense of humor. Kyle Seager always seems to be cracking jokes, keeping guys loose. It's just a lot of guys have a lot of fun in the dugout and in the locker room. And I think that's important to, we spend a lot of time together, and keeping it loose, having fun is a big part of it.
What's the best prank you've ever seen pulled that you could share with us in this Edward Jones Chatting Cage segment?
Best prank. Oh, man. I don't really know. I can't think of a prank off the top of my head.
All right, fair enough. Fair enough.
There's little things every day. It's more just like quips and comments and stuff, but
Of course. All right, our next question is from Twitter. It comes from Kim Torres. We talked off the top of the show about you having hundreds of texts to answer after throwing that no-hitter. Who reached out to congratulate you that maybe surprised you? That's what Kim would like to know.
Well, a lot of friends and family and like minor league teammates that I played with reached out, which was really cool of them to do. And one that was special was I said earlier that one of my favorite pitchers growing up was Andy Pettit, and I got a chance to talk to him a couple of years ago because Robinson Cano hooked up his number just for us to chat and talk about pitching. And he reached out and congratulated me on the no-hitter, and that was pretty cool for me.
All right, we have one more question here from you. From Heath on Twitter says, James, what otherwise small moment from your time in the minors sticks with you?
Oh, man.
That's a good question.
Yeah, in minor leagues, Double-A, we went to the playoffs, and that was some of the most fun I had playing in the minor leagues. We had a good team, and we made it all the way to the final. We ended up losing in the final, but had a lot of fun playing in those games that meant so much, and really had a good time with my teammates doing that. So I'd love to get back to a playoff postseason games and see how that feels in the big leagues.
Yeah, that's what it's all about, right?
Absolutely.
After throwing a no-hitter, I feel like you could manage the nerves well just based on that. All right, we are inside the Edward Jones chatting cage talking to James Paxton, and we have another fan question. This one comes from Jack. Jack, what's your question?
I'm just wondering, do you have any advice for a freshman high school pitcher, also a lefty like you?
Freshman high school pitcher. So, biggest thing for you is just finding a delivery that feels good. There's always the basics, the fundamentals of throwing, but everyone's a little bit unique. And if you can find the delivery that feels best for you, and then practice repeating it, because repeating your delivery is the most important, because that's going to equal, location, and you're going to get the most life in your most comfortable delivery. And being able to repeat that is a big thing. So find a way to find that, and then just do it over and over and over again until you can make it look the same every time.
It sounds cliche, right? But there's a reason they say practice makes perfect. That was the perfect question to end this segment on, having a freshman in high school pitcher ask you for advice. And I'm sure there are a lot of young boys looking up to you after your performance the other night. Congratulations again, James, on the no-hitter. A wonderful accomplishment for you. We wish you nothing but the best moving forward this season. Thanks for doing this today.
Thanks so much. Thanks for having me.
What a great guy. That was so much fun. And thank you guys, the fans at home, for joining us here in the Edward Jones chatting cage. We appreciate it. You guys are the ones that make this show happen. We're going to have more guests just like James all season long, so make sure to check back here for the next edition of the Edward Jones chatting cage. I'm Jackie Redmond, and we'll see you next time.